Hello, chefs. Good morning. We're back again. I'm Isaiah, the young Jedi chef, here with the Dragon Warrior chef, German Lam, and the Phoenix Warrior chef, Noreen. We'll be your host for today's podcast. You are listening to a unique podcast where we will discuss tough yet real topics that need to be heard in the industry. In this podcast, you will hear the truth real, raw, and unfiltered. Today, we have the honor of having Toya Carter-Willams with us to talk about what guests expect when they go out either for a drink, to dine, or to enjoy a stay at a hotel. I'm excited to get started and jump right in. So without further ado, I'll let the star of our show, our guest, Toya, introduce herself. Toya.
Hello, I'm Toya Carter-Willams. I reside in San Diego, California. My background is in human resources. Particularly, I am a recruiter. So being a recruiter, you're constantly out dining. The back end of that, I do some part-time modeling as well, lifestyle modeling. Lifestyle meaning you're going to a restaurant and you're sitting there and someone's taking your picture to promote that restaurant. So this is perfect.
Thank you so much, Toya, for being here. We're super excited to have you. Really means a lot, and I'm excited for our conversation today. So, before the moment that guest even pulls into the parking lot of your restaurant, hotel, or bar, they begin to set expectations as to how their experience will be, what the ambiance will be like, and how they will be treated. The life or death of an establishment, being successful or not, can be determined by whether you exceed expectations or fall below achieving what your guests expect. There are many ways to go about finding a new or interesting bar or restaurant to try. It could be as simple as you seeing a sign or advertisement. It could be word of mouth, or it could be that the curb appeal of the restaurant sparks your curiosity as to what might be inside. So, to start off the first question, what do you consider when looking for a new establishment to try out? What expectations do you set before you even walk in the door? Toya, you want to start us off with that one?
Absolutely. One of the first things I do when I'm looking for a new restaurant, because I'm not traveling as much, but I traveled a lot over the years. I always like referrals, but I hit the web and I look for stars. Stars are very important to me. You're going to have those guests that are never satisfied, so they're going to put something on there. So I take that into consideration. I really love referrals. I'll call someone up and say, hey, what do you think here? What do you think there? I like convenience, meaning if I'm going to a restaurant, I don't want to look for parking. So you need to have valet or something of that nature. I don't want to walk far. So parking lot needs to be convenient and readily available. And if it's not, I need to have valet up there because I'm ready to eat and drink and have a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely so true. And I like what you said about looking for stars too. I think that's what most people, look for when they're trying a new spot. They go online and they read the reviews. If there's a whole bunch of one stars, you're most likely not going to visit. But if there's 4 or 5 stars, maybe a few sprinkles of ones. Yes, it's good to look at the negative ones, but the positive ones are gonna be the ones that draw you in and draw you wanting to eat there. So that's so important. Thank you so much, Toya, for that. Noreen,
Sure.
oh, sorry, Tori, go for it.
No, I said, sure, no
Yeah,
problem.
definitely. Noreen Chef Lam, what's your take on it? What draws you in?
Uh, this is a great question because I think the first thing that I came to mind was I look at the menu and I also try to look at pictures on Google because they have pictures of what it looks like. So parking is something I also consider if I'm in a new place and maybe I'm not very familiar with the city. But I really look at the menu and the reviews. And stars are a really great first impression. But I think the only time I amend that rule is when it's more cultural or ethnic cuisine, because sometimes the reviews are not as accurate when it's really authentic food. So I read through them, and you just have to try. Sometimes you look at the menu and the reviews are interesting. If they talk about one or two menu items in particular, that is that restaurant's specialty, I'm going there and I'm going to try that item. I want to see what it's about. And that really is what piques my interest and will, you have to adventure and you make your own list of places that you like, and referrals are excellent. But I think because I am in the food industry, people come to me for referrals. So I have to figure out, okay, what do I like about this? What do I not like about that? And, when you walk in the door, this is all before, but the first thing you look at, is it clean? Are there people smiling? What's the mood like? Is it busy? Is it a busy time of day and they're not, the restaurant's not full? Things like that is what I consider.
Yeah, I love all those points, Noreen. And I think something also that's super important is yes, referrals and reviews, but also your presence on social media, That's how I look for new places to try. When I see it on social media, I see all these exotic dishes. I see, people having a good time, stuff like that. I'm like, oh, okay, I want to be a part of this. I want to see what this is about. So I'm gonna check this place out. So I think your social media presence is also very, very important. And that's also what drives people in, before they even drive into the parking lot is how does your website look? What do people think of your spot before they even know what to expect? It's super, super important. Chef Lam, what's your spin on it?
Oh, I love this question. And the reason why is I'm from old school and new school, right? So listening to everyone's comment, I go, well, you know what? The culinary hospitality industry, I have mastered that. And what that means, whether it's front of the house, back of the house, you name it, right? And I was trained and developed at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Boston. So to me, I'm in one way like, you know what? I have a step. Why? Because they taught me of what five-star is. They taught me of, you name it, service, sanitation, respect, professionalism, safety. So for the common person, I look at different things, right? So in one way, I'm like a Michelin inspector. I really look for the basic. Back then, that was an old world. It doesn't exist now. New world, I just go with with the eyes. My eyes, my mind, and my heart tells me right there and then. Sometimes you hit a five-star, and sometimes you go, okay, see you, never again. So to me, I think feelings and emotion, and because think about social media, right? Social media, you have no idea what that person's mindset, taste, standards. You know what I mean? Because right now, eating it's like you go from A, B, or C, or D. They're all good. It's just different price point. So for me, the eyes never lie. The mouth never says, "Oh my God, that was a beautiful hamburger. I ate it all," or you're like, "Man, the hamburger was dead." So those fries, they were so greasy, I couldn't even, I couldn't finish it. So it's just basic things that this generation, what it's lacking is they're lacking someone who develops and train. And that's what I do. I know how to develop and train the front of the house, the back of the house. And that will actually help you with the Yelp reviews, because you could have a great menu, but what happened if your front of house staff, doesn't look clean, then I'm like, okay, then that tells me, how about the staff in the back? Oh, you guys look like an anime character, I mean, so it's things that, but this is what this generation's about. So now, how do you work with the ingredients that's in front of you? And I always said, you're trying to take people and polish them in a clear diamond. And that takes a mentor who knows how to communicate and make people happy with themselves.
Yeah, I love everything you said, Chef Lam, especially about how the people present themselves at work there. If people are sloppy, if they don't care, this, that, you're not gonna want to eat there, and how people carry themselves at the place that they work says a lot about the restaurant itself, the standards that they have. If the people look sloppy, the food's gonna be sloppy, so it's super, super important to consider. So thank you so much, Chef Lam, for that. So, as a restaurant or business owner, it is super important to know what your guests are looking for when they choose to enter your establishment. The hospitality industry is one of the most competitive industries to get into and become successful in because there are multiple options for guests to choose from. So one way to make your establishment stand out from the other ones is to set yourself apart. And it'll be hard to do that if if you don't specialize in something. So this is why it is important to understand what your guests want and exceed where you can. When was when was a time where a restaurant either exceeded your expectations or did not live up to them, and how did you react, and how did that make you feel? Toya, you want to start us off with that?
Sure. I go to a particular place, Isaiah, because of the way they made me feel. Actually, probably 2.5 years ago, this place was excellent because the minute I walked in, they addressed me by my name, not even knowing me, and I didn't put a picture up. And I thought that was impressive. Next, the food and the drinks were excellent. Sometimes you don't get that balance of you may go there because the food is great and have drinks somewhere else later, or vice versa. This place was top notch from beginning to end, which means I will continue to return, and not only return, I will refer out. I still go there. I'll continue to go there. I enjoy addressing people by their names, or not, you may not know their name, but having that quality customer service is very, very important to me. I'm not looking for you to necessarily roll out a red carpet, but I'm looking for you to roll out a red carpet at a certain level. And that's what happens, and I continue to go to this day.
I love that. And I love how you said the name thing, because it's important when you take time to get to know somebody's name. It really means a lot. And I actually was at a bar one time, behind the bar, bartending, and not where I currently work, but somewhere else. And they were like, one of the customers was talking to me, and they were like, I want you to go to every single person and ask for their name. Go to every person, ask for their name, and introduce yourself. And I did that. They were like, it's super important to remember somebody's name. And they're like, do you even remember our name? And I was like, my memory is not good. They're like, if you really want to remember somebody's name, you will. So that really said a lot, and that meant a lot. And it's kind of like when you greet somebody by their name, it shows that they're important to you, that you want them there. So that's super important for any really fine dining restaurant, especially if you have a reservation. Hello, Miss Toya, how are you doing? Thanks for coming in. And then you're like, oh wow, they know my name already. Like this is amazing. And even it's not a restaurant, but even when I go into the bank, they know me by name already. Hey, Isaiah, how are you doing? Before I even walk in. So it's kind of like I feel like special. You know what I mean? So I think that definitely sets you apart, and that creates regulars when you get to personally know somebody on that level. So
Exactly.
and then when they have their drink waiting for you as you come up to the bar,
Yes.
or they have
Yes.
with the champagne, or what kind of let me make something special for you. That all that stuff matters. When you're seen as an individual, I think that really sets your restaurant apart. So thank you so much, Toya, for that. Noreen, Chef Lam, what's your spin on it?
Toya, I love that you mentioned the name thing, and I love, Isaiah, that you expanded on that, because I think in hospitality, in a lot of five-star places, Forbes rated places, they try their best to do that, but everyone else doesn't realize how important it is. I love it when people use my name. That's why we wear name tags at work. It's easy to communicate together. Everyone knows who you are. So why wouldn't we do that with the guests? And that's a great thing. And Toya also mentioned the balance between food and drink on a menu, being able to order anything off the menu really and be satisfied and trust that you're going to get something, delicious. That really is something that can exceed expectations. You pick anything and it's great. And there have been, and this is why I'm kind of hesitant to just follow, star rated places, because I've been to 2 Michelin star places, 2-star Michelin places. And, the food was okay. The atmosphere was great, but
Yeah.
the food didn't really
get it.
sing to my soul, right? And then I've been to, a food that I really enjoy is Vietnamese pho. which is the beef noodle soup for anyone listening who's not familiar. And I love it. It's an amazing meal. And, it's a lot of mom and pop shops that have the best pho. And the best place that I used to go to near my college campus, it had what, 3.2 stars on Google. My friends are like, "You're taking us to the reviews aren't great." I said, "Listen, just trust me. You go, the food is spectacular. The best pho that you've had in the area." So really, are you meeting, for me, the food is the most important part. I'm a cook, I'm a chef to be, that's my thing. So is the food really living up to the authenticity, or is it living up to the menu description? That's what's going to exceed my expectation and make me want to come back. I don't want to go somewhere where I'm spending $400 or $500 on dinner and then I leave like, okay, like Chef Lam said, see you never again.
Mhm. And Noreen mentioned, can I jump in here?
Please.
Noreen, you mentioned the Michelin star places, and you made the comment, hey, it wasn't, may not have been that great. It should have, but I just experienced that this past weekend. I was referred somewhere and I was all excited, and beautiful vibe, atmosphere, et cetera, et cetera. I'm a huge steak eater. I love steak. I love seafood.
Wonderful.
Certain seafoods, but I was disappointed. I said I've had better, and I have. I know what a good steak is.
Yes.
From a customer standpoint, everyone has different tastes and how they like them prepared, but so my expectations were here and dropped down to about here. Will I go there again? Absolutely. But I will only go in for a drink or two and come out, and I'll check the menu out again. Give them another chance.
Yeah, yeah. And it's good to give places another chance. Sometimes, they've had an off night. It happens to all of us, but you try 1, 2, maybe 3 times and it's not living up to your expectation. It's important for the establishment to also evaluate what kind of expectation are they putting out there and what are they doing to meet it for the customer, for the guest.
Yeah, I can agree more. I think I like what you said, Noreen, about authenticity, and I think the smaller restaurants have more soul to them. Have more I guess love into it. Michelin star is awesome, it's good, but it's passion which is there, which is needed. But I feel sometimes the soul is left out. It's left out of the cooking. It's left out of because you get so focused on the small little tweezer intricate details and you forget about putting the soul into the food, which is extremely important. So thank you so much for that. Chef Lam, what's your twist on it?
Think about, you have ratings, right? And you have menu, and in this era, it's like a sports team. You have a payroll, and how much are you able to distribute from the front to the back, and how can you coexist on a daily basis? So now you're not playing musical chair from the front of the house, back of the house, and that's one of the challenge and beauty of our industry, right? That you have mom and pops and there are lines, and suddenly you could have a restaurant that has the finance backing. It looks like a museum. You go in it and it's soulless. So to me, it's really about people, because our industry is about emotion and feeling and behavior, and whatever the headlines has, we get affected by that. So to me, it's something that you got to look at different state. We can't control the headlines, but we can control the individual of where the soft skills, that body, mind, spirit, and food, mental. I mean, these are the things that it's going to make that steak cook perfectly. So to me, I learned that that's very sensitive to teach, because not everyone could actually teach that, but when you can, you really could take, like basic ingredients, like a hamburger, like a hot dog, like a tuna melt, and you could really make it go, wow, I love that tuna melt, right? And that's one of my favorite, tuna melt. Think about that. You got bread, you got cheese, you got tuna fish. Yes, but do you know how to grill it? Do you know how to get that nice golden crust, And so to me, it's like the basic things that, but they're hard because if you never tasted greatness, you really can't reproduce it. So
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's having that personality behind the food, having that love behind the food is really what makes it, because anybody could put a burger on the thing and flip it. But if you don't have that love for it, it's not going to come out the same. So thank you so much, Chef Lam, for that. So I believe one of the biggest assets that a restaurant has are its regulars, like we discussed, and these are the people that make it a routine to come visit your restaurant. They're the ones that know what they want, and they know that you could deliver on what they want every single time. That's why you come back. So what does it take for you to become a regular at an establishment? And in what ways does this place stand out to you in order to become a regular? Toya, you want to start us off?
The customer service, for me, definitely the food and the drinks, but the customer service, and I say that because I'm not looking for mediocre customer service. I don't care if it's 5-star or 2 or 1 or whatever it is. I'm looking for good customer service, period. There are levels of customer service because people are learning, but it takes nothing to be kind. It takes nothing to smile. And I give people a break because sometimes you're having a bad day. But if you're having a bad day, you need not be on that floor because your customers are coming in. I say that you need to fake it till you make it. I don't necessarily complain, if you will, unless it's really bad. I will actually diffuse it. I'll say, are you having a bad day? Or, it must be one of those days. And it helps that server or whatever person I'm talking to kind of bring it down a notch and say, oh, okay, I need to reevaluate and give good customer service because you are the face of whatever place you're working for, period. So I like good customer service. If I can get a good drink and a good piece of meat, that's gravy on it.
Exactly.
Yes.
I couldn't agree more, Toya, with the customer service aspect of it. And like you said, we're on stage when we're behind the bar. We're on stage in the whatever. It's a stage. It's a platform that we could use for our benefit and the restaurant's benefit as well. And it's not fair for the customer if you're having a bad day and that energy you spread to the customers, they're gonna feel it. Regardless of what type of day you're having, when you're on the floor, when you're on the stage, you have to be your best. Even like where I work at Mayfair, if the dancers are having a bad day and it shows in the performance, nobody's gonna want to come back. If they're lazy on the stage, if they're not doing the moves, if they have no enthusiasm, nobody's gonna want to see that show. So you kind of have to act, even if you're not feeling the best inside, you have to fake it, like you said, fake it till you make it. Put a smile on your face, and because it's not fair to the customers if you bring on your stress, your anger to them, they're not going to feel comfortable, going to want to eat there. And I feel like
By the way, the customer is not always right. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, but no, but
they are, but they're not. Exactly. And I will take up for the restaurant a lot of times because I see customers. So the customer is not always right. That is not my motto.
we love that support, Toya. But yeah, no, you still gotta fake it though. Fake it till you make it.
Right.
I think this is super important. So thank you so much for that, Toya. Noreen, Chef Lam.
I love the customer is not always right.
They're not.
I just wanted to revisit that because no, they're not. And I think that's why for me, the food is the most important for me to become a regular. Customer service is important. I am not as picky about it personally. I think like traveling internationally, there have been some places where I'm like, oh, is this how it works in this country? But, very different in stateside, but it's okay because for me, I'm there for the food. Do you have that one or two menu item that I'm really, really enjoying? I will go there every week. I'll go there 2 times a week. There's a place nearby here that my friends and I stumble upon recently. They do happy hour deals late at night for industry hours, so from 10 p.m. to close, which is a great time because that's when we're coming off of work. Maybe we want a quick bite to eat. They have a lot of shareables. Amazing torched salmon nigiri. I'm not going anywhere else for nigiri anymore. I'm going there all the time. And you learn the hostess. The hostess knows who I am. And I really appreciate that personal touch that helps. But for me, it's the food. You advertise something and it really is that delicious. It's made with love and care. And I can tell when it comes to my table, I can tell when I eat it. I am a regular. I'm coming there all the time.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's super important. Consistency is key. Like I
Yes.
said, if that food is consistent every time, consistently good, you're gonna go there, regardless, if especially if it's a quick service spot, just go there and enjoy good cuisine. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And
that's
that's sorry, that's like why people like fast food and why they like big chains. You can go to a Panera in any state, in any city, and get a grilled cheese, and you know what that grilled cheese is, more or less going to be like. So if you can bring that into your establishment where you're consistent, you can promise, you're going to have a burger like this today and tomorrow and next week and next month and next year. Oh yeah, people can rely on you, and that
Mhm.
it's like almost like a little bit of trust. You trust
exactly.
that the product you order is what you want. So that's really
Yes.
important. I love that you brought that up, Isaiah.
Yeah, for sure. And people might laugh, but hey, I'm a regular at Applebee's, even though the service might be what you want to eat is the food
Me
is
too. Great
exactly,
happy hour.
See, there you go.
I used to work there, so it brings back memories too. So
Mm.
it's the food is always there. The food is always convenient. It's always consistent. So that's another good point. Thank you so much, Noreen, for that. Chef Lamb.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna take a different route. And what happens when something goes south and you do
Mm.
go there and it's one of your favorite, I look at, okay, how are you going to reset and how are you going to respond? And when you're handing me the check, I go, oh, what happened? He goes, that's on us. And to me, that right there tells the manager, like, you know what? We dropped the ball and we had a comp, you know, and the manager's gonna say, where do we fall short in, right? So one way our business is, you know, we rave for 5-star compliments, outstanding, but then there's another part. What? You comp the whole meal? The kitchen, it was slow, it was cooked wrong, it had to be cooked again, and that's okay because now you get to see how do they recover. And to me, that's important because do they care? Some places like, what? You didn't take that off? Then you're like, you never see this face again. So it's really, business etiquette that I call that not everyone understands this, right? And I think the more you educate them and saying when we fail, it affects everyone, not just the front. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I love that. Recovery is super important. Like if you mess up, okay, things happen, but how are you going to recover from the situation? I think is super important. So thank you so much, Chef Lam, for that. So a regular brings so much to your business, and these are the people that will talk about your establishment the most and spend the most money and bring in new guests. So, what are some of the best cities to visit for great food, great hospitality, and great service? Toya, you want to kick us off with that one?
I would say San Francisco is pretty good. There's variety there. I love the Top of the Mark because you see the entire city, you can hear the music, and you get a great piece of meat.
Yeah.
Can you tell I like steak?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's San Francisco. I'm gonna have to check that out then. Great
Mhm.
cuisine, great food. I know my favorite spot is definitely New York. New York for me is like the hub of everything because it's a cultural melt. You get all the different cultures. They bring their food, their style to it. You could have great food every single place that you go in New York. That's what does it for me.
Nice. I love
Yeah.
New York too.
Yeah, I love New York. Noreen, Chef Lam, what's your take?
Yeah, there's so many great cities. I think the first thing that came to mind was also New York City. I'm biased because I lived there for some time, and I'm really into discovering authentic cuisines. And because of like the real melting pot that New York is, you can go to all these different. You have to know where to go. It's a big city, but you know if you want really really good authentic Chinese food, you go into Flushing, Queens. I was able to go get authentic Egyptian food, which stateside, it's very difficult to find. But, you know, you go into Astoria, Queens, it's there. You want, you know, really good Russian food, Italian food. It's all there, which is great. So for me, authenticity is important. But DC also, I grew up near DC. Washington, DC is surprising the amount of different cuisines, but also levels of that food service. So if you want 2, 3 Michelin stars, they're there. If you want hole in the wall spot, it's there. You want late night food, great brunch. DC would surprise me a lot, and they have pretty good hospitality. They work with a lot of politicians and lawyers that work there, so they're always on their P's and Q's. So I appreciate that.
Mhm. Yeah, I never thought of DC as being food spot, but I guess you're right. They have all those politicians and stuff they need to impress, so that would seem like a good spot to be too.
Yeah,
So thank you so
yeah.
much, Noreen, for that suggestion. Chef Lam, what's your go-to?
Metropolitan. You got, I mean, when I say that is think about you have a community, right? Global, international community. When you have that, you're gonna have amazing food because you have finance, you have business, and business always has authentic food because you have clients from all over the world. So to me, that is my, compass of saying, you know what, I love New York, I love Frisco, I love LA, you know. So whereas business, you got great food, you got great talent because also then they got great resource.
Mhm.
And that's where it comes down to resource. If you have resource, you really could do something really simple. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. It's the business where the money's at is where the high-end food is going to be at, where the all the quality is going to be at. But also, it's important. The hole in the walls too are really good. Like I gone to some New York hole in the walls, and it's been the best pizza I ever had, the best this I
Yeah.
ever had. So it's because they got that soul in it, where their hands are all floured up from making that's where it's at. So definitely great spots. Thank you so much for that. So to kind of finish it off in a fun way, if money and time were not a problem, what establishment would you love to visit anywhere in the world, and why? And if there's not one, is there an establishment that you would like to see open up that does not already exist? Toya, you want to start us off with that one?
Well, I had another answer in mind when you first said that, but I'm going to change it to I would love to see a restaurant done by German and Noreen after listening to them today. Seriously, I would love to see what you all would come up with. Um, I think a little bit, it would be very, very diverse. So that's going to be my answer because these two chefs I want to go and eat at their restaurants, wherever they are.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I'm sure they feel the love too. Noreen,
Oh,
Thank you, Toya. Well, as soon as we have a place, you have a table at our place always, okay?
okay, I'm coming. I'm
Okay,
coming.
good.
Actually, I'm going to hunt you both down and come visit.
Okay, I love it. This is a great question. It's a fun one. I think the first uh, place that came to mind was actually Gagan. It is a 3 Michelin star Indian restaurant in Bangkok, Thailand. And the reason why that place I would love to visit is because the story of the chef, Gagan Anand, his story is incredible. If anyone's interested, he has an episode of Chef's Table on Netflix. I want to say it's one of the first two story and just learning about his passion for authenticity and food and rediscovering Indian cuisine. is really what inspired me to change careers. So to be able to go and eat there and just experience the passion that him and his staff have would be incredible. And it's definitely on my bucket list.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome to be able to visit somewhere where you've been inspired by, especially for to inspire to change your career by is super, super, super cool. So thank you so much for that, Noreen. Chef Lam, what's your take?
Well, I'm gonna piggyback what Miss Toya mentioned about Noreen and I would add Isaiah to the mix. Now,
Of
got
course.
the three, it's like the three amigos, the three kings, however you want to look at it. I would go, but a place that I would love to go, I would like to go to a Buddha temple.
Mm.
Why I say that is cooking, it's about purity, simplicity, wholesome. That's what cooking is. And once you taste, the earth, the soul, the love, what that does to you when you cook, it takes you to another level. Because I said, Buddha, plain Jane, the common folks, every day. To me, that is where food, and that's where I get my foundation from. It's not the Michelin stuff, it's not the omakase, it's not the tasting food and wine. I love those. That's theater, but in reality, I'll take the three of us and say to the world, let's go. Iron Chef, let's go. All right. And when we're done, you're gonna go like this.
Bow down. Bow down.
Let's do it. Do it. I'll help you set it up.
I love it. I love it. Business in the making here.
I'll hire your people for you.
Oh,
I love that. Yeah, I love that. And I love how we're all able to come together as from different cultures and different backgrounds and really make something happen, add flavor to the world is what we're doing here. And that's why these podcasts are so important. And that's why we really appreciate all of our guests and especially you, Toya. Thank you for being
Oh,
here.
sure.
This
Thank you,
call,
guys.
yeah, of course, we really appreciate it. So, like this call, people that are listening, it's not only affecting them, but it's affecting the people they're connected to as well. So, we have helped make history today. So, thank you so much. Thanks for listening, and see you guys on the next call. Thank you.
Thank you.